Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. A few days ago, I finally hit 500k subscribers, and I am so stoked and so grateful. Thank you all so much for all of your support. I really, truly do appreciate it, like, beyond words. You have made this, like, dream I had for, like, most of my life a reality. It's, like, so incredible that this is something that I get to do with my life, and I'm so grateful for all of you, and I'm so glad that my videos bring people any sort of joy or comfort to any degree. So I really do appreciate it, despite how horrible the algorithm may be treating me as of late. I am still so glad and grateful that my videos are able to reach people who, you know, get anything out of them. And I'm so glad and so grateful. And so thank you. Like, thank you so much. So I thought a fun way to celebrate, to say thank you, would be to let you know a little bit more about me and do a Q&A, because it has been many years since I've done a Q&A. So a lot has changed. Things about my life have updated, have shifted, have changed. I've grown, you've grown, we've all grown. So I thought it'd be fun to get you to ask me some questions, and I will go through and answer a bunch of them now. So if you want to know the person you have subscribed to a little bit better, this video is for you. I already overshare so much. You already know so much about me because I have a very small filter, but you don't know some things. I'll go through some of the questions that you asked and hopefully enlighten you to some more of my life. Okay, let's see what the people have asked. Firstly, I had a lot of people asking about K-pop and especially Stray Kids, which, you know what, honestly, I'm kind of obsessed with. I'm here for it. I love it. I'm glad that this is a part of what people know me for, all things considered. So I had a lot of people asking when I got into Stray Kids, who my bias is, what my favorite album of theirs is, and if there are any other groups that I stan. And, you know, thank you all for asking me so many questions about Stray Kids. It feeds me, it fuels me, I love it, thank you. So my bias in Stray Kids is Hyunjin, although Chan is like my favorite person in the world, and I don't really know how to describe that. Chan's not my bias, but he is my favorite person, but Hyunjin is my bias. However, at the Dominate tour, Chan kind of did low-key become another bias, so do with that what you will. My favorite Stray Kids album is impossible to choose. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't choose. They are all incredible. No skip discography. I'm sorry. They are all fucking fantastic, and I refuse to choose one of them. When did I get into Stray Kids? I got into Stray Kids December 6th, 2020. It was the Mamas. It was their victory song, Kingdom Mama performance, and I was like, oh my god, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I need to know everything about them, and the rest is history. And as far as other K-pop groups go, you can see this is not all my albums, by the way. This is just some of them. This is a lot of them, but these are my non-Stray Kids albums. And I used to have my Light 6 here. They've been replaced with Angels. So the other groups that I stan, my other alt group is B2B. As you may be aware, I just spent 10 days traveling Europe going to all of the hotter concerts, and he is a member of B2B. So they are my other alt group. I used to be a big 18E. Now I'm a little bit less so. I really liked their older stuff. Not as big of a fan of their newer stuff. I'm sorry. Same with the boys. 6/CIX. Those are all my like favorite groups, but I also do enjoy, just in general, a lot of groups. There's a lot of artists that I really like Aspa, Twice, Idol, some NCT music. I fucking love Taeyong and his solo music. BTS, TXT, who else is there? Stacey, Red Velvet. There are other groups. They're just not coming to mind right now. There's a bunch. I like a lot of groups. 4th gen. In general, 4th gen, love 4th gen. Most 4th gen groups, I will at the very least listen to their title tracks, but I don't really stan many others, especially not anymore. I'm not like as involved in K-pop as I was a couple years ago because I got more into books and reading, and that consumed a little bit more of my brain, which brings me to the next question, which is, what are your favorite books, and can we have a bookshelf tour? My favorite books are the ones that I display. So the books that are on my shelf that you can see are my favorite books, minus a couple which are on my shared bookshelf with my partner. So my favorite books are All for the Game, which are these ones that are here, and then Angels, which are these ones that are here. And then this is my reread shelf up here, which has Green Creek by TJ Klune, the Last Binding by Freya Marsk, More Than a Best Friend by Emma R. Elbin, Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews, The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, which I made a whole video about on my book channel, by the way, Kiwi Reads. If you want to hear me talk about books, just go subscribe to Kiwi Reads and join my book club. The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. This is Halsey's poetry book. Then I also have The Once in the Future Witches, also by Alex E. Harrow. Over here I have all the Hunger Games books. One of my other favorite books is Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher. I also really fucking loved Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Those are fucking fantastic. They're on my reread shelf as well. Not physically, but they are there in spirit. And I just read When the Tides Held the Moon by Vanessa R. Kelly. That was also fantastic. I was a big fan of that. So yeah, those are some of my favorite books. Basically, like, traumatized queer people found family is like, that ticks on my boxes. Those are my favorite books. So that's my bookshelf tour. And then over here is just a bunch of my K-pop albums from a bunch of different groups. And then in my bedroom, I have a Stray Kids B2B album that I have too many. They didn't all fit in here. So they're in my room for me to admire in there. And then I have way more books. My partner and I combined all our books, and those exist out in the lounge, but there's like 500 books and I'm not going to go through all of those, and I haven't read most of those either. So what do you think your job would have been if it wasn't social media or music? Or what was your dream career as a child? I actually have no idea. I have crises over this regularly because doing YouTube it doesn't really ever feel like a very permanent thing, right? And music, the music I'm currently working on it's just a big passion project, and I would love for it to do well, but I am very skeptical about it doing well just because of the subject matter and the style. I'm not making radio-friendly music. I'm not making pop bangers. I'm just pouring my heart out into these songs that are not going to be for everyone. I don't expect it to do super well. It would be incredible too, but I can't really say that it's going to be a career as much as I would love for it to. And YouTube, as much as I would love to keep doing this, it doesn't feel like super permanent, and I don't make enough money off of it to be able to just like retire from YouTube and live out my days with the money I earned from it. So at some point I may have to think about this. I feel like I can't imagine doing anything not creative. Like, before YouTube, I worked in retail. I was a piercer/piercing apprentice when I was 17. And then when I was 18, 19, I worked at a jeans shop. And then I moved to London and I started doing YouTube when I was 20. And that's really all I've done. I have no idea what I would do. I feel like I really like, fashion. So clothing, right? So I wear a lot of like bright and colorful clothing. So I've like toyed with the idea of like, maybe I'll make clothes. Maybe I'll design clothes. I don't know how to do that. But that's something that, maybe I could do that. And then the other thing is I like being creative and writing, obviously. So it's like, maybe I'll write a fucking book. I don't know. Do I know how to write a book? No, I have no idea how to write a book. I have no idea, but it's creative and it's like writing, and I write songs. So just transferable skills, right? Just because I can't picture myself doing anything that isn't creative, that isn't like putting my thoughts and opinions out there, that isn't like comforting someone in some way or another. I really wish that I didn't have such ambitions, because I feel like my life would be a lot easier if I was like, I'll be chill to get like an office job. I'll be chill to just do XYZ. I just don't think I'm cut out for something that isn't like creative to some degree. And my dream career as a kid was music. I decided I wanted to be a singer when I was like 3 years old, and I literally never ever let go of that, ever. I have covers on YouTube on alternate channels that exist. I uploaded when I was 12. On my current music channel where my music videos are, there are covers that I did when I was 15, 16, as well as the music I released when I was 17, 18, 19, 20. It's always been what I want. I left high school early to go to uni to study music. Like, it's always been that. YouTube was a side dream for me. YouTube I always viewed as the starting point for music. It was something that like I could just do, and I didn't need anything to do it. And I loved watching YouTube. So I just started making YouTube videos. Well, I started making TikTok videos, which led to making YouTube videos. And this just ended up taking up a lot of my time, and I never had the time to make music because I've just been focused on this. And I like ran out of creative juice. I didn't have enough emotional energy, so I never got to work on music. But the idea of YouTube was always like to transition into music, like many people do. But I ended up really loving doing YouTube, and it kind of became my entire life. And although I am trying to venture into music again a bit now, I also don't see myself stopping YouTube, especially for the fact of I've become more realistic about the performance of my music, and I don't expect it to like pay the bills. It could surprise me, but you know, it's always been music and YouTube. That's always been what I've wanted to do. Music's been the dream since I was forever. And then YouTube is something I decided I wanted to do when I was like 11. So, you know, living the dream, and it's all because of you. So thank you. As far as music, I also got a lot of people asking questions about that because I asked you to ask questions about that. So I've got a few. Someone asked what my process is of like, do I come up with the meaning first, the lyrics, melody, the instrumentation, like what order do I write the song? Usually I come up with an idea for what I want to write about. So the subject matter is typically what comes first, and then the lyrics. And then I am not very good at writing the music part anymore. I have not really done much music writing since I left uni 6 years ago. So I typically, I write poems and then I turn them into songs. And presently, like, I go into the studio with my producer / co-writer and we work out the musical aspect together. So I construct the entire lyrical base of everything that I write. I used to do all of the chords and the melody. Now I get a little bit more help with that because I'm not used to doing that anymore. However, since doing it a couple times now, I've started to do it a bit more, just like, you know, got the juices flowing again, and I've remembered sort of how to do that. But I always still start with the idea, like the subject matter and the lyrics. Sometimes it's a brain dump, and then I take the brain dump and I pick it apart and I can build it into a song. Sometimes I can make 3 songs out of a brain dump. But it's always like, I'm thinking this, I'm feeling this, I want to write about this, and I'll write down an idea. I have so many things in my phone that is just like 2 lines because I'm like, this is a cool idea. And then I can't write anything further. I've just got like 2 lines chilling out on my phone because I'm like, I don't know what to do with this, but that sounded cool. So usually it's like, I want to write about this experience. I need to figure out how to write about that experience. I've got a song that I really want to write. There's 2 songs that I really, really want to write. Like, I have the idea, I know exactly what I want to say, but I can't figure out how I want to say it. And I've been stuck on it for like 3 years. So I need to just let it go and like try something else. But I like really want to write it, and it pisses me off that I like can't get the words out to like write the song that I want to write. So yeah, usually I have the subject matter and I move from there. And a lot of my songs start off as poems. Usually it's like 4 verses, and then I'm not good at choruses. I'm really bad at writing choruses. I will have to come back and like either add a chorus or like copy and paste a part of the verses and be like, this is a chorus now. I just am really bad at it because I write poems and then turn them into songs. One of the songs I've written right now has like 5 verses and 2 bridges. And then I was like, fuck, I need a chorus. And now the song's like 8 minutes long. Whoopsies. That's the music I'm working on. The song I'm going into the studio after I film this. I'm going into the studio to finish a song, and it's 5 minutes long, I believe. I'm really fucked up. It's really tragic and upsetting. And I'm really excited to release it, and I hope you all love it. But I did cry while recording it, so you got that to look forward to. What's your biggest inspiration that got you interested in creating music? Halsey is my number 1 inspiration for music. She always has been. I've always loved music, even when I didn't really have inspiration for it. I didn't really know what type of music I wanted to make or like the direction I wanted to move in. I knew what music I loved, but I never had like an inspiration. Mind you, I was a child, so. But when I was 15, I first listened to Halsey, so it was before Badlands. Room 93 was kind of new, and I listened to it because I found out about it through my 5 Stars friends on Instagram, and I listened to it, and the first time I listened to it, I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. This is what I want to make. This is the type of artist I want to be. This is the type of music I want to make, and I've held on to that. Halsey's albums have evolved as I have evolved. They've come out when I've needed to hear them as well. They are so important to me. I love their music and everything they do so much, and still all of my biggest songwriting inspiration comes from them. They are my biggest inspiration. They always have been. I now have had to go and find a bunch of other artists and like reference songs and things that I also love, but the biggest one will always be Halsey. It's been 11 years of them being my biggest musical inspiration, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. How do you keep yourself sane between life and having to constantly look at shitty things people do or say on the internet? It took a really long time to figure out the balance. I will say it's been a journey. I struggled a lot for a long time separating work from life because there's not really a boundary, right? Like I am responsible for my own scheduling, for keeping myself on track, for like, I am responsible for literally everything. And it's really easy to let that bleed into your life and have everything become work and vice versa, and like not have those boundaries. And it for the content that I make, it becomes very emotionally consuming of like finding something and being like, oh, I should make this into a video. And then you end up like spiraling down that and it's like 2:00 in the morning, or like it's a day that I shouldn't be working, or you know, it was very consuming, and my mental health was really terrible for the first couple years that I did this because I didn't know how to set boundaries with myself. Then I got my ADHD diagnosis and I started medication, and I got a flat that had an extra room that I turned into an office, and I got a work phone and I set boundaries about when and where I was allowed to work. And that really, really helped. Is that I have my work phone, which this is what I use for going onto the Facebook groups, for watching videos, for going through Reddits and stuff. I do not do that on my personal phone anymore. And at the end of the day, my work phone stays in the office. It does not leave with me. I'm not logged into any of the accounts on my other phone. I'm not logged into YouTube Studios on my phone. I have set those like solid boundaries of like, I'm not allowed to check analytics. I'm not allowed to look at comments. I'm not allowed to go through any of the things that I would go through for work outside of work hours. If I stumble upon something while I'm just like scrolling on Twitter or on Instagram, I will send it to myself on my work phone and I will come back to it during the work day. And I have set hours as well of like, I'm only allowed to work between like 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Wednesday through Saturday. And that's sort of like the way that I've been able to like sort out my mental health a bit. I also film on my last day of the week so that I have a couple days to like recover, because filming does use a lot of emotional energy for me. I go a little bit like, I have to like withdraw and keep to myself a bit after filming because it is a lot. So I've just kind of learned my own boundaries and learned how to set them with myself, and it can be really difficult, and I do really struggle with it sometimes. Sometimes it is very easy to like want to work more or like come up with ideas and like put time into that, or I have other ideas that are like slightly separate to work but still work related that I'll like do on my days off, and I have to be like, no, stop it. Because it can get very, very overwhelming, especially when I like try to extend out into doing more like Instagram reels or TikTok, or I want to do merch or any of that sort of stuff. Because I have my set like schedule for what I do for work, that stuff doesn't fit into the schedule I've already set. So it ends up bleeding into the rest of my life, which isn't helpful because then I get overwhelmed and it just becomes everything. It is so easy to let this become your life, and that's not a healthy way to be. So if you are doing something like this, you are doing something creative or anything like that, you need to set boundaries with yourself. And it can be really difficult, but like it is so helpful, and you will actually get more done. Like setting these boundaries, having set work hours aside has made me more productive. Like I work less hours, but I get way more done in that time because I know I have like deadlines. I know I have to finish within this set period of time. So even though it takes me a minute to like get into it, I know that I have to finish, and I know that I have to do it. So it like helps me do it. Boundaries. Basically, I talk a lot about boundaries here. That applies with setting boundaries with yourself. They are very, very important. And that is how I do it. Sometimes it does get overwhelming and exhausting because it is a lot of emotional weight. That's also why I've moved a little bit away from a lot of what I used to do. And I do a lot more like parenting content type stuff now, and more like I still make a lot of like political type content, but there's a little bit less of it because it was just getting so heavy, and I was really, really struggling to like not be upset and angry all the time. So I have done a little bit of a shift just to protect my own mental health, and it's still like very important, and I still do talk about those important things. It's just not everything. So it's about finding balance and figuring out where you sit. And yeah, people ask, how do I become a professional yapper? Like how do you start a YouTube channel and get into that? You just kind of do it. People ask me this all the time, but the thing is that a lot of it's hard work. A lot of it is luck, right? There's a lot of hard work that goes into it. I worked my ass off when I was starting this channel, and I still do. I work a lot, and I work myself into the ground a lot. But you just kind of have to start and understand that like sometimes that isn't enough. Sometimes it is just you get lucky. And I came into this like a lot of other people in 2020 while everyone was like locked inside, and a lot of people became influencers and YouTubers and things in that year. So it was a lot of luck with timing, and just out of nowhere the YouTube algorithm decided to favor me, and I went from 5k subscribers to 100k within like 3 weeks, because I don't know what happened. It just boomed, and then it kind of snowballed from there. But to start with, I literally just had my phone. I sat in the guest room of my auntie's house where I was living, in front of a big window that had the sun shining through. I put a chair in front of me. I leaned my phone on a book on the chair, and it was in selfie mode, so it's not even like the higher quality video, but I wanted to be able to see myself while I filmed it. I didn't have a microphone, didn't have lights, didn't have anything, and I just filmed it on my phone. I edited it on iMovie on my laptop, and I uploaded it from there. And those are still some of the best performing videos on my channel. My videos performed better then than they ever have. Again, that was like the biggest boom of my channel. All you need is something to talk about, a phone and a laptop, and that's it. It didn't cost me anything. I didn't spend any money because I already had the laptop, which had iMovie on it. I already had a phone, which has a camera on it. So if you have those things available to you, that's all you need. Don't overthink it. Just sit down and talk about what you want to talk about, and then upload it, and hopefully something happens, right? You just got to keep at it. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't, but there's unfortunately no secret formula or way to like make it happen. It just does or it doesn't, and it's annoying, but like maybe it'll work. You won't know until you try. Why did you start talking about the topics that you talk about? It's interesting because it kind of happened on accident. I keep getting TikTok memories at the moment because most people don't know at this point, but before I did YouTube, I did make TikToks, and I started off just like, it was me experiencing like identifying as queer for the first time, because I've obviously always been queer. I had dated a woman when I was 17, 18. I was in a relationship with a girl for a year or 10 months or however long it was. But I still didn't identify as queer. I didn't identify as anything. It was just, I am Savannah and I like whoever I like, which I still agree with. It's why I use queer instead of any other identifying label. So I didn't really identify with queerness or think anything about it. And then when COVID hit and we were all kind of forced inside, and I got TikTok and I started using it, and there was like that whole like gay TikTok, straight TikTok thing, I ended up seeing a lot of queer content, and I started identifying with it a lot. So I started making a lot of content just about coming to terms with queerness, in a sense of like, not that it ever mattered, but like realizing how much of a part of me that was, and like identifying with it and like being a part of the community. And I spoke about that a lot. And that was like all of the shit that I posted for like 2 months. And then I dyed my hair rainbow, and it carried on sort of being about that, about being queer. And now I like presented even more queer than I was before, and sort of my experience with that. And like when I dyed my hair rainbow, it got a lot of attention. I gained 10k followers overnight just because I had rainbow hair. And it kind of grew from there. Of like, thing with like George Floyd happened, and I saw, you know, I'd never seen so many people talk about something like that before. And I realized how like horrible it was, and how much I cared and wanted to like help in situations like that. And so I started making videos talking about like Black Lives Matter, and then all these other things were happening, and I started talking about all these like political and social issues that were like going on, and I only had a minute to talk about them on TikTok. So I was like making these videos talking about that, and then also still talking about like being queer alongside that. And those were the two types of videos that I made. I made a website where I put a bunch of like petitions and things on it for people to sign, and it was really, really exhausting because I did this 24/7. It was just like reading up on social issues, talking about social issues, like sharing things, spreading things. And, you know, I've always wanted to help people, and I felt like I was doing that. But then a minute wasn't long enough to talk about these things. I realized that like I needed to talk a little bit longer than a minute. So I made a YouTube channel and I started talking about those things here. And then I also enjoy like reaction content. So I started doing a bit of that as well. So then I was talking about political stuff and I was doing reaction stuff. And then it kind of just like, I moved off TikTok completely when this started working out, because TikTok is the fucking worst. It kind of has grown and changed from there, because I still do that, but I do it in a slightly different way. As I've grown, I've become more educated about things. I talk about things differently. I've learned, I've changed. I've realized my boundaries and what I can and can't talk about and how I can talk about things. Obviously, I've gone from being able to make videos that are a minute long to now I can't shut up and my videos are like an hour. It's interesting to watch the progression of my channel and watch my videos going from 12 minutes to like averaging 45, because I started getting more comfortable and confident, and like I realized what people like watching, and there was a period of time where most of my content was just revolved around what performed the best and like, oh, people like this, so I'll just keep doing this. And then it's kind of moved into like, yes, that is still a factor, but I am more focused on things that I enjoy making as well. Like I try to have a good mix of like, I need to make videos that people are going to watch because I need to pay bills, but also I want to make more videos that I'm just proud of making, and finding that sort of balance has been kind of difficult, but I'm like in a better place now than I have been in a long time. It's still hard because I still have to upload more videos than I would like to be having to upload. I would like to be able to spend more time making bigger, more in-depth videos, but I like don't have the time. So I have to like sacrifice and make all these choices and decisions and figure out like, there's a lot that goes into it. But basically it's been a long time of me figuring out what I like talking about, what I want to talk about, and all that. So it's been a journey. I've grown, my channel's grown, we've grown, everything has changed, but like in a good way. And it's just really interesting. And I have that whole journey like sort of documented, and I think it's really cool. So yeah, I kind of ended up here by accident. The parenting content stuff came about because I uploaded one toxic boy mom video, and it's the highest performing video I've ever posted. I really enjoyed doing that. Other people really enjoyed watching it. So I started doing more of that like toxic parent content, and that led me down a whole rabbit hole of a whole bunch of other types of toxic parents. And I realized people really liked watching it. And then I realized I really liked making it. And so that's how I kind of ended up here with like a lot of my content is about parenting, just because it's something that I relate to and I think is important. And I think you can channel a lot of different issues into that. Like you can, like, there's a lot of politics that goes on in parenting. There's a lot of like relationship shit, and that's my thing, right? Like I came out of an abusive relationship, and so I feel like I have like a lot of insight on the different dynamics of relationships. And I was also a child of parents who were emotionally unstable, so I have like a lot of things to put out there. I feel like I have a lot of good insight, and I can combine all of the things together, and I really enjoy making this type of content. So that's where I am, and we'll see where it moves from here. You know, I've only got room to grow, and I have enjoyed watching my journey, and I hope you've enjoyed watching my journey as well. And like, you can stick along, stay with me for the ride, and see where I end up next. There's some answers to some of your questions. I hope that you learned something about me here. I feel like this probably wasn't very interesting to people. This probably does not have very many views at all, but that's not the point. Exactly what I've just been saying. I want to make content that I enjoy, and if anyone enjoys it, that's fantastic. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Yeah, so let me know if you have any more questions you want me to answer down in the comments. There was a lot of questions. I'm sorry that I didn't get to most of them. I answered in long, so feel free to ask more questions in the comments, and I will answer a few of them down there. So thank you so much for 500k. I really do appreciate it. Like, you have made so many of my dreams come true, and I appreciate it more than I could say. So thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. A huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Rain Remaining, Mossy Moose, Noah, Bingo Bango Who Ate My Mango, Kiaram, Bug Loves Cats, Kaylee, Kojo, The Beebs, Tess, Alicia, Bree, Chastity, Beckett, Prismatic PT, Sushi, Kawaii, Phil the Duck, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Chris, Ellie, Ikazel, and Alexis. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes, you replay